Hey everybody, today is May 31st, 2025. Welcome again to another short video courtesy of investingsuccess.ca. In today's short little video, I want to talk about the smallest planet in our solar system, the planet Mercury, and it's also the closest planet to the sun of all of the planets in our system. Mercury makes an orbit around the sun in 88 days. Now, if you look at this diagram, you'll see that it's not a circular pattern that is centered around the sun. It's kind of an oval egg-shaped pattern. And the reason for that is the powerful gravitational push and pull of the sun causes this little planet to adopt this oval egg-shaped pattern. So as it orbits the sun in this irregular pattern, there will be times in that 88-day period when it is relatively close to the sun. There will be times when it's relatively far away from the sun. When it's at its closest, it is about 28.6 million miles from the sun. When it's at its farthest away, it's about 43.3 million miles from the sun. When it's at its closest, we call that a perihelion event. When it's at its farthest away, we call that an aphelion event. But more importantly, ancient civilizations. Now, if we go back to like the ancient Babylonians, in those ancient societies, there were high priests, smart guys, philosophers. They studied what they saw in the sky. They made notes of it, carved out their observations on clay tablets. They recognized that there were times when Mercury would appear brighter in the night sky, and there were times when Mercury would appear fainter. That's all they knew. They didn't understand aphelion, perihelion. They didn't understand the gravitational pull of the sun causing Mercury to have an elliptical orbit. They understood none of that. They just made a observation, bright, faint. But then they noticed that the general population was responding to these extreme events in brightness and faintness. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The human animal is hardwired to events in the cosmos. We may not realize it. If you were to stop 10 people at random on the side of the road and ask them, are you hardwired to events in the cosmos? They wouldn't know what you're talking about. But we are hardwired, and our emotions do change. Now, that is what drives the financial market. Emotions, fear, and greed. So if the high priests were able to recognize that going back thousands of years, that explains why some very clever people in the financial centers of the world, London, Frankfurt, New York, they know that people are going to respond to events in the cosmos. We're hardwired. We have to. And these very clever people that run the financial markets, they use aphelion, perihelion, retrograde, declination. All of these things cause an emotional reaction in people, and these guys know that that then is going to cause an emotional reaction on the markets. People are either going to buy or sell, fear and greed, and these guys in these financial centers, they take full advantage of all of that. Let me show you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. Here's a chart of gold futures, and if you take a look over at the left-hand side of the chart, you'll see that Mercury in the middle of January 2025 was at an aphelion event. That is to say, it was farthest away from the sun in its journey. Now, was there a reaction in the price? Arguably no. But here's one thing I've discovered. Look at the rally. This rally basically started at the end of December 2024, and it went through until the middle of February 2025. If I take the high and the low of that rally, I can compute something called the geometric mean or the geometric average. It is different than a simple average. And look at where the aphelion event occurred, right at the geometric average of the high and low of that rally. Very, very interesting. Moving on just a little bit on the chart, you get into early March. Mercury perihelion event, relatively close to the sun. Was there a reaction in price? Sure there was. You can see a little dip. Price looked like it was going to come down, and all of a sudden it started to recover. If you move on into April of 2025, what do we see? Well, we see that there had been a rally that went from early March into the middle of April. The geometric mean in early April aligned to a little dip and a change in volatility. But then look what happened in the middle of April when Mercury was at aphelion, farthest away from the sun. The price of gold hit a peak. It could not press any higher. Human emotion changed, and it changed very quickly right at that Mercury event. Now, where does that leave us here and now? When the markets open on Monday, that would be June the 2nd. They're going to open with Mercury at perihelion. Now, what's the price of gold going to do? Well, if you look at the lower pane on this chart, the stochastic looks like it's rolling over. Not exactly a good sign. We'll see what gold wants to do come Monday. It might turn around and start to rally in the futures markets on Sunday night. Time will tell, but there's going to be some kind of a change here. So just keep your eye on Monday, June 2nd, and let's see what Mercury at perihelion is going to do for us. I'll leave you with one more example. This is our favorite chip maker, Nvidia. If you go to the far left of the chart, December 2024, there's a Mercury perihelion event. And what do you see? Well, you can see that the price declined right at that event. It was a tipping point. And in January, there was a Mercury aphelion. Look at what happened. The price rolled over and actually made a gap down. Emotion was so fearful that people were just dumping this thing to get away from it. Price ultimately did recover and fill the gap, but then it rolled over. And it declined from middle of February into the middle of March. Look at where the perihelion event occurred, right at the geometric mean, the geometric average of that overall bearish decline. Very interesting. It ultimately reached a significant low in April amidst all of the tariff concerns coming out of Washington and so on and so forth. It then staged a recovery, but it couldn't maintain the momentum and it pulled back. Notice that when it pulled back in late April, the aphelion event came right at that geometric mean of that little pullback. Price then rallied, and that takes us to here and now. Look at the lower pane on the chart. There's your stochastic. It has rolled over. It is telling me that it's bearish. And now we've got what appears to be a peak and a rollover in Nvidia. So I would say that this perihelion event that is occurring on Monday is going to give us some kind of downward momentum on Nvidia. Will it be severe? Probably not, but it will be a pullback. And for anybody who is trading Nvidia, watch the stochastic because this could be actually creating a buying opportunity for you. Okay, that's it for this short little video. So you can find the aphelion, perihelion dates for 2025 in the Financial Astrology Almanac. Failing that, there are websites online that will give you tables of that data. And whatever stock you are trading or whatever commodity you're trading, see if there is an alignment to these aphelion, perihelion dates, and look up for yourself. And this is just a quick search online, and learn how to calculate the geometric mean of two numbers, because you're very often going to see aphelion and perihelion events occur right at the geometric mean of a bullish rally or a bearish decline. And as usual, you know where to find me, investingsuccess.ca. Astrology letter, cycle report, it's all there for you. And you can also find more frequent postings on my Substack channel, where I call myself Planetary Trader. Thank you kindly for listening to this short little video, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Take care.